Hello, fellow unicorns. Welcome to another video. And today I have a very special guest. Do not mind my special background because this is my home office, and it looks like a cabin in the woods. And speaking of which, the topic of today would be horror stories and comics. And here with me is a very special guest, a friend of the channel, George McHale, an author and a scriptwriter for some of the comics that we did together, but I'll let him introduce himself first.
Hi, hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm George McHale. I'm the writer of Hybrid Force that we made together, and also Cover Darkness, which is available to order now at your local comic book store. It's a comic book series that's kind of like Game of Thrones meets the Universal Monsters. I'm super excited about it.
So this will be a compilation of several different types of stories which are horror themed in the same universe, I guess, same timeline. Can you tell us a little bit more about like the topics that you chose for this, or locations, or characters from famous horror tropes?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's structured in a really cool way. So basically, half of the series is about a family in medieval Romania. They get separated from each other. Oh no, right? And they encounter all these classic villains. So it's about their journey back to each other. A mom, her two daughters, and she has twin shapeshifting nephews, boys that can turn into animals. So you get like gorillas fighting werewolves. It's like totally bonkers. The other half of the comic book, though, is the monsters' origin stories. So we've got a vampire story, mummy story, we've got those Viking werewolves, a Creature from the Black Lagoon story, and a Frankenstein story that takes place in Atlantis. And he's resurrected by his widow, Dr. Mary Frankenstein. So kind of new twists on all the classic monsters, and it's about the family colliding with these monsters and trying to find their way back to each other. Yeah, big epic shared universe.
Now that's an intro to a story I would definitely going to read. Um, so yeah, like, ooh, where do we start? So how much would you say this book was? Like, how much was the horror theme important for the book?
Sure. So it's kind of like fantasy meets horror. So a lot of the characters are on like a quest in some ways. They have to find weapons, or or try and find their family members. So they're on a journey, and it's set in a fantasy world with like goblins and orcs and dragons as well as all the classic
Nice.
monsters. But it's really important to me to get those scenes of terror in there and those horrific acts too. So it's a little bit of both worlds. But yeah, there's no cursing or nudity in the book, but there is blood and guts and monsters and lots of
That's what I wanted to ask next.
yeah. I've always loved horror. When I was a little kid, I watched Monster Squad when I was like 5 or 6, and it was like my babysitter one night. And my parents we were in an apartment building, and they were in like the next apartment over at a friend's house, and they left me alone to watch this thing, and it just freaked me right out, man. Like I was like losing my mind, like I didn't know what to do with myself, and ever since I saw that movie, I've had kind of like a love hate relationship with monsters. I love horror too. Like also when I was young, I watched Jaws probably like the next year, and that one freaked me out bad too. Like I was afraid of like all water for like a solid month, like the bathtub, the toilet. I thought
Oh
the shark was
no.
gonna come up and get me. Like I was just freaked right out. And those memories though, like as kind of traumatic as they were at the time, now it's like fun, and
Hmm.
I look back at them like fondly, and I want to like explore that feeling again and create stories and have art for these stories that kind of recreate that same feeling.
hmm So, can you tell me something more about the book physically? Like, how many pages does it have? Is it full color? How many artists worked on this? Something like behind the
Sure.
scenes that could be interesting.
So it's a 6-issue miniseries out from SourcePoint Press. I do want to clarify that it is for adults, definitely. Older teenagers can read it and like it, but it's made for adults. Like,
Hmm.
so it's 6 issues. It's full color. Our artist is MJ Hiblin. He's an incredible talent from the UK. He does everything digitally with his finger. He doesn't use a pencil or a stylus, all with his finger.
Whoa.
Yeah, the guy's like a mad genius, and it works for this subject matter. It has like a gritty kind of kinetic vibe to it, and it's really fun. So yeah, 6-issue miniseries from SourcePoint Press, and on covers we also have like the legend Scott McDaniel, who worked on Batman and Nightwing. He's doing just beautiful colors for us. They're super collectible too because they all feature like a big monster head in the like that looks scary, and then like one of our protagonists in the foreground, like a full body of the protagonist. So and they're all kind of the same layout, but different monster, different protagonists on the in the front. So it's a fun collection. If you want to get those are being offered as like the B cover from
Mm.
SourcePoint.
So if anybody's interested in this book and wants to purchase it for themselves, how do they go about it? What's the deadline to get it? Is there like a limited supply?
Yeah, go into your local comic book store. Ask them to bring in Cover of Darkness from SourcePoint Press. Um, Final order cutoff is like November 24th, so it's coming up really soon. But you could probably still get it after that too. But there is a potential for it to sell out.
Is there like any new projects, like new stories, new chapters in the future that are planned for this family and this story?
We're planning on doing a one shot in the fall. That's like an anthology. Like so, we have like a big kind of spotlight on the 5 main monsters there, but then we want to expand the world and expand some of the other characters that appear in it. And I've got kind of a murderer's row of talent on that first anthology project. We've got Andy Belanger from Swamp Thing doing a vampire tale. We've got G&B Kamichuk doing like a ninja versus kaiju tale, and we have a Bride of Frankenstein origin story by John Delaney from Adventures of the DC Universe and Simpsons and Futurama. So he's illustrating that story. So those 3 short stories are going to be collected into an anthology coming out this fall.
Can you update us on how Resilient went since last time we spoke about it?
Yeah, so Resilient did gangbusters on their first Kickstarter. Did really well, and there was a shipping delay with the book, and so issue 1 just got into stores in September, and Kickstarter fulfillment is happening now, and we're planning on launching the Kickstarter for the issue 2 very soon. I don't have a date yet, but it's within the next 2-3 weeks. We'll be launching the second Kickstarter for Resilient, and we've got a very special cover by Mystic Arts herself. It's super cool, lenticular, where you turn it and the character changes. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh, I did not know that. Even myself. That's. We can definitely expect a lot of new, thoughtful details and amazing surprises from you in the future. And if you guys are interested in getting your own copy, please make sure to check out all of the links down below and on the screen for the pre-order, because after the 24th, the cutoff date, you probably will have less chances to get your own copy. So I definitely recommend George's fantastic books because they're awesomely written and always like kind of like surprise you at every corner with their storytelling and with great pacing. I personally enjoyed drawing every page that I did for our like mutual projects because you never like I intentionally was drawing page after page and not reading the next page what happens on it because I wanted to have like that flash of inspiration before I start drawing the next one. So thank you, George, for everything that you do. You're an amazing writer and such a creative person, and it's always a pleasure to work with you.
Oh, thank you, Mystic Art, too, one of my favorite collaborators. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. See you guys next time, and I'll speak to you soon.